Hey, what's up, guys? This is my early review or early thoughts on the Sony 900E. My experiences with it thus far. I've had it for a few days now. I finally got it downstairs into the media room, and the 940E is packed away. Early thoughts on 900E is it's all around a very good display. All around, it does everything well. It doesn't do anything poor or poorly. That is great motion, great picture, very clear, nice colors. Everything is consistent. Everything works well. But that leads me to the TV's weaknesses is that it doesn't really have anything that jumps out as that wow factor. Things look great, but doesn't have my jaw hitting the floor the way Samsung's KS9800 did last year and this year's Sony 940E. They were very high peak brightness. Both of them had, I believe, 1400 nits. And those things do really stand out with HDR. Because HDR does actually dull the picture a bit. So you need that high peak brightness to make those effects pop. They still look great on the 900E. They're just not as prevalent. They don't leap off the screen the way it did on those other displays. It has great blacks, not perfect blacks. It's got less zones, so there is some blooming that the 940E didn't have. The 800 from last year didn't have any real blooming either. It has some blooming. So the black bars do get some light, but they're not edge-lit bleed or flashlighting. So I don't mind a little blooming around loading symbols, things of that nature. It's not a deal breaker for me. So the edges are a little brighter than they are on the 940E. 940E has many more zones in its local dimming to keep the picture uniformed. It has definitely better picture uniformity as far as vertical banding. There really isn't much on mine, so not much of the dirty screen effect. So, and in gaming, in game mode, there's still some motion blur. It's not perfect. But once you go outside of game mode, you can actually enhance it by adding some of the motion settings, which does help. It's not great for input lag, but if you're playing a single player campaign, you do really get that PC feel for its motion. So in short, so far I'm enjoying it. I'll probably end up keeping it, but it's a little hard to go down to the 900E after seeing the picture quality of the other flagships. However, the other flagships all had pretty strong cons to go with their amazing pros. Where this TV is, it's good at everything that it does. And you have to throw cost in there. As if you're going to spend the kind of money that you do on a flagship, I want a flagship to be as close to perfect as possible. The Sony Z is, 9,000, 10,000. The KS9800 was about 11,000. If you're going to spend that kind of money on a display, it better be as close to perfect as, possible. And both those TVs, in my opinion, had pretty glaring flaws. So, 900E, it is a mid-range LED in Sony's lineup, but it's a great all-around display. And I think it falls into a lot of our ballparks as far as what we can afford in real world. I know the Sony Z is the top of the line, Sony display, but I do believe it did struggle with some of the motion problems the 940E had, and you shouldn't have any problems at that price point. So good all-around display so far. This is not a full review. This is just my early review. I'm happy with it so far, but getting used to the lack of wow that the other displays kind of gave me. It's bright enough, so don't worry about peak brightness. It just doesn't have that pop, that crazy pop that the other displays had. So, but great all-around display, highly recommended. And I'll post more videos to come, full review and more gameplay footage. Any requests, leave them in the comments. Thank you, guys.